Alrighty, think we should be good to go. There we go. All right, OBS is streaming. What's up, everybody? How is it going? All right, so I know a couple of you guys are going to be rolling in here slowly but surely, but they're going to be a little bit different tonight. I'm going to take some chart requests. I'm going to stop at 9:45, so all requests will be stopped at 9:45. But after that, just to make sure I get to bed on time, so I'm going to bed a little too late. Wow. How's it going? All right, we're if you guys don't mind, make sure to reshare this video. All right. All right. I'm just gonna start this again. Gonna wait just a second here. What's a good start with stocks? That's a good question. All right. Let's set up the second camera here. How was how was everybody's trading day? Everybody's kind of piling up in here for where you take calls. Yeah, Rawl. Yes. I think one of the great, and I'm answering the kind of the easy questions first, while I'm getting ready here. But for me, uh, I even if I am extremely bullish, I have some type of an idea of what it may look like if it doesn't end up staying bullish. So, um, yeah. So that's the answer to that question. It's always good to have a plan either way. So, yeah, right. All right. What's up, everybody? Bad because of CEI. Understood. Understood. This is a good opportunity to learn. For sure. So we'll talk about that a little bit tonight. So I'm actually gonna pull this down. There we go. I'm gonna go live here. I'm gonna turn this down actually. All right, that's a little bit better. And we are on live here. All right, so let's go ahead and let's get started with your guys' questions. Of course, I'm buying whale. I've decided. We're live. Whale? What are you talking about? Um, Talking about unusual whales? I support those guys. All right. Bullish or bearish on Netflix? Okay, so go ahead and get started here. All right. So the first question was CEI, and we can talk about CEI. It's nobody's surprise that this is the price action that we've seen. And I did my best, or I did try my hardest to set some alerts for people, or at least help people figure out where their trend was. And for me, I marked that very clearly. It actually is a little bit off here, but this was that $3 2.95. So if you guys remember last night, we talked about CEI potentially breaking to the downside, and I'd like to remind you guys that in a bull run, you want to see if it pulls back, you want to see a curl. You don't want to this tapering or kind of consolidation. What you'll think about it this way: if this stock pumps, and especially if people are down here in the cent range, which you got to remember, CI was at 50 cents and has since gone all the way to $4. With that, guys, somebody dumping on a big run, this is what it's going to look like. So retail will step back up, push it back up, and you'll just have steadily but surely people pushing it down. And to be honest with you, it's not. It wouldn't be outside of the question to think that. Kensington Capital is was taking positions to the downside, pushing this lower, so that way the sentiment, because that's what you want to do. You want to push it lower. You want to scare investors. You want to get people asking questions, and I mean that's just the game, unfortunately. So with everything, I do believe that CEI will go lower. And I don't say that because I want anybody to lose money, but I do think that it already tapped $1. But I do think a return back down to the 95 cent level. I know the evaluation is near from Kensington, like near zero. So they think that this should be down in the pennies. That being said, um, it does have a gap. If earnings can pull some magic card out of their hat, perhaps they see something different there. But it just kind of is what it is at this point. And if you're in it, they do have options now. You could utilize those. So, hi. What about Nicola? Oh God, you're gonna trigger me, dude. If there's one stock, what happened to cryptos today? They pumped. They pumped. Starboy, I didn't see the first message. What are you looking at? I'm a transgender unicorn. Yeah, you're back at it with that. CEI died. Yep. Uh, I didn't see where's the gap? I'm gonna stay away from CEI just like always. I am on YouTube. I will let you guys know that I'm gonna be primarily focused. This is a Q&A and charting. So I'm gonna do a little bit of charting. I'm gonna answer some questions and all that good stuff. So I asked you earlier about net. Um, so Jamin Patel, what sorry, I was just making sure. Yeah, so I'll give you actually net is on the watch list for tomorrow. And if you guys want, I could use this as a opportunity to teach you guys a little bit about finding a watch list. Okay. And first of all, I want to urge you guys to remember, oh my God, network price. It's a crypto, please. I'm so confused. Um, it's pulling back, man. You got two rejections off the top. Uh, Looks like you've already cleared that zone right there. You may see a bounce back up for retest. Um, it ran. I would watch a pullback to $14, $13 right here. This 208 EMA. Anytime you make a significant run, a significant breakout, you can expect some type of retest like this. So, anyway, so let's talk about net. So those of you who caught net with me, I know some people here on TikTok and on YouTube outside of the group were able to make money on net with me today. Um, so I want to answer some questions about why, one, I took it, two, it's going to be probably taken tomorrow again, because it still presents a relatively high probability play, and it's just getting started in terms of volume. It could actually see more volume. So let's go over this. Just hold your questions 1 second and we'll get to them. So first off, we can replay this all right, and start it from pre-market. All right, so this is pre-market for net. This is right around the time that we were talking about it this morning, correct? So there we go. So right now we're looking at net. You know, you're kind of seeing that little bit of gapping up. And one of the first things that attracted me to this stock in particular, again, those of you on TikTok, please hop in the YouTube. Corn's going up, probably. But please hop in the YouTube. I'm not going to be able to answer any of your questions unless you don't or unless you drop them in there. So, you talked to Elon. That's what's up. Okay, so you know, with Facebook falling, data becomes a concern all of a sudden, and Cloudflare out of nowhere saw some relatively large volume. I also spotted this setup. I think I saw it on Benzinga Pro. It had made a new high, a new session high, popped up on my scanner, and I just went and looked at it. It was as simple as that. I just saw that it had some momentum, and I went and looked at it. I think somebody else in the chat, actually in Discord, had mentioned it as well. So after seeing that close, right, it closed bullishly. All right, so this is what it looked like last night. At that point, once we kind of moved into pre-market here, all right, so we're not actually open. Let's go back to the 15-minute. So let's pull this up and let's look at what it looked like. So this is pre-market this morning. All right, so first of all, right here in pre-market, you're riding this 50-day EMA. You've already, okay, so set this line right here. So we have momentum to the upside due to the pullback on Facebook, right? And all that tech data mess right there. On top of that, there's a very obvious gap, a gap starting at 120. That was the first target this morning. The second gap, or the gap fill, happens at 122. So anytime there's a gap above you, it adds to the probability of the trade. If there's a gap above you and you're curling, you can double that probability. If the gap is curling and you have a gap above you, or if the stock is curling and you have a gap above you and you have high volume, you have an extra layer of verification on there. So it's not one of those things, guys, where you know you're going to see the stock like you would, where somebody would say, "Hey, look at this stock." It's going to be one of those things where you, whether that be through experience or somebody calling out something, you saw a setup, somebody explained a setup, and it made sense to you. At that point, it's your job to find it something like that again. And for me, a bottom, a lot of you guys will know I definitely like to see EMA crossovers. I definitely like to find stocks underneath their 20-day or 200-day EMA on any given time frame, and especially ones that have fallen like this. And that only added to my sentiment here. So look, let's go ahead and press play. Again, okay, so immediately at the bell, we were already in. A lot of you guys were in with me. We kind of got a late fill on that. Not late, but we kind of got in after the breakout, but still good fill, and immediately shooting right up to our mark of 120. And I know a lot of you guys at some point were able to exit for over 100%. And at that point, guys, the volume. Look at that volume on the 15-minute time frame. Now, why am I freaking out about the volume? Well, if you go look at the open candle on every single day, it's only the first drop, aggressive drop to this low, is where you actually see movement, right? So same thing here. That gives me the first. It's hard to imagine a big spike in volume and then just completely dropping off unless it was news. So other than that, it had good sustained volume. And then lastly, all right, so let's add one. Let's ice this cake. So lastly, my rule of thumb is obviously if a stock doesn't go down, it's probably going to go up. And in this case here, you can see this is the 15-minute, but 1, 2, and this is a little fake out, a bear trap here. But they do in fact tap that support 3 times, and you do not break it. And at that point, that's my rule of thumb: 3 times and a bounce, 3 times and a break. You know, it all depends on the sentiment. But here we get that initial push up, great volume, and then we can go ahead and press play. Sucker went and filled its gap, chopped around. So look at the behavior, right? Struggles with that gap, just like I talked about this morning. You get a little bit of struggle with the gap, and then finally Finally, look at how many times you retest that gap. Retest it. See how you're hugging it? See how you're hugging it? You stay. That's bullish. That's building. You're building a level. You're building something. So think of it like a, like a if you're building a tower, you got to have some type of reinforcement before you make your next leg higher here. And you can see there's chop in this very same range as you move lower to the downside. So net had a great setup there, held and that's when you know when it's a good time to hold, is when you don't make a lower low, and then just steadily but surely made its way up to 125 before finally closing out the day. And after hours, I think spiking might have even, yeah, it hit 126. So all in all, a high probability setup. Do I see another drop in rise tomorrow? Sorry, I meant to. Hopefully, I didn't miss any questions here. So I do see it. Do I see another drop in rise tomorrow? On what specifically? Um, Analyze me, baby. That's weird. That's a weird thing to say, but not right now. Um, okay, so let me full screen that bad boy. So tomorrow, since I'm on the stock, I am watching for a pullback. I would say 124.50 is going to be a bounce level for me. And again, the same level that we built today, 123.64. But I am looking for this to potentially go into this gap. And that gap starts at 133, right? So the first target tomorrow is going to be 128. So wherever we grab this one, it's going to be 128 where we grab it, or for our first target, but it may end up being a good long out till 135. So, alrighty. Um, that's how much do you risk and how much that's an everyday question. Um, EMA crossovers, guys. So if you guys have any questions, any requests, I'm going to restart this stream here on TikTok. But if you have any questions, please hit the link in my bio and go to the YouTube channel and hop in there. That's where I'm going to be able to take your questions. All questions are going to be stopped at 9:30 or 9:40, excuse me. I'm hopping right back on though, so thank you, of course. All right, I'll see you guys in just a second. Yeah, no problem, Jamin. And that's good to ask. I like when you guys ask questions even after winning plays. Losing plays, you always get questions, which is obviously going to happen. It makes a whole lot of sense. So, okay, so let's keep it moving, guys. And remember, you guys can ask me this is a Q&A. Ask me questions. I can always chart these things or show you guys the chart, but you remember what the most important thing is: be able to execute something. But keep asking about your tickers. I'm not shutting you down or anything. All right, let me go up here. Anna, you got in FedEx. Good job. Nice. Rawl, I did that one. What's a good start just with stocks? Reading books. So hop in the Discord and start reading books. Read books and watch people. I'm gonna be honest with you guys. I'll be 100% honest with you guys. I don't have, and nor have I had necessarily the time to dig in and just read a book from cover to cover. A lot of the times I'm looking or listening to audiobooks. I'm busy, and I don't really have like the necessarily the time. But for me, when I was learning, it was always just watching other people do it, watching other people fail. And I don't mean that in a bad way, but losing trades are good to watch too. We had losing trades today. I know some of you guys in the Discord, they were bad. I mean, if you had and that's what I keep trying to reiterate to people, please have an exit. If you're gonna get in, you need to know where you're gonna get out. Like if you go into a building, you need to know where like the fire escape is. Like you need to know where you're gonna get out, where you're gonna take profits. If you don't have that, you should probably not get into a trade. And even if it's just okay, I'm gonna use my pivot points or I'm going to use my entry as my exit, whatever the case may be, or a bullish moving average. That's what I would recommend there. So, um, I'm sure, yeah, you guys weren't liking that Pelosi one. Okay, so but that would be my question there. So I'm buying Will. Hi, I asked you about Netflix. Okay, so thank you to Nadeem. He gave me a big shout out today on Netflix, which obviously Manny called out. I did not call that out. I think Big Stepper may have also been on Netflix's sale. I wasn't really following too much this morning. I was stuck on net. But I did see it run, and then at some point I tried to take a little short out on it. I got out of the short. It wasn't terrible. I think it was down 5%. Got out of that trade, and moved on to the next. And then at that point, I think I told a lot of you guys in the Discord it's going to go to 640 because at some point it just would not fail and buyers were buying every dip. So that let me know that upon this original rejection, yes, we had moved parabolically, but we were not going to fall. So even though I exited the put, it was really like getting in and getting out of nothing. I really didn't do much at all. So with that being said, I literally saw this 5 minute, and I'm recapping here to kind of play into what's going to go happen tomorrow. But we made a little pennant here, nice little cute pennant, and then or flag, whatever you want to call it. And we ended up hitting my exact price target of 640. We actually hit 25 cents above that, and I got that target just by simply observing the angle. And I know that sounds absolutely wild, but I was looking at this. So that, and I know there's some analysts who will tell you to ignore that line, but oftentimes when a stock is moving parabolically or starts to consolidate as it rises, because you guys remember I called the top too. I called the top and I said, all right, yeah, it's probably going to go drop to 634. I didn't even get to enter that trade, but it did have a small lower time frame rising wedge, and I'm really good at identifying that type of pattern. I don't know if you guys noticed, but there is an affinity between me and rising wedges, falling wedges. Why? Why could that be? Probably because it fits my personality, it fits my trading style. It's one of the first things that intuitively popped up to me, and I don't question it. I don't question it. If it has the setup, I wait for the prerequisites to get broken. I wait for the setup to play out, and I take the trade when it comes to me, rather than chasing the trade. Okay, so as far as tomorrow, yes, I do absolutely think that there is a good chance to see another leg up, but not before seeing some type of pullback. So anytime you move with this type of velocity in any direction, you're likely going to see some sort of either consolidation, trading flat, a flag, something of that nature at this level. If you gap up tomorrow, that's going to be bearish. That's going to be short-term bearish. So 5 minute, if you gap up, you already have a little gap here. But if you gap up and you're anywhere around like the 642, wait for the pullback. That's actually going to be a blessing because we could maybe take the gap fill, bounce, and take it to the upside. But in my opinion, I think that Netflix, due to the social sentiment and everything that's happening right now, could very well make just a smaller move to the upside, potentially hitting 645, maybe 650 with the volume and sentiment that it has. Also, something to add here is every time Netflix makes new highs, like as so, it does very much so see very stiff rejections. New high, rejection. 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 I could go on and on. New high, rejection. Like it literally just can't hold its shit together once it makes a new high. And you can see that it just completely, I don't know if I'm allowed to say it on YouTube, but whatever. I already got banned once. So what's going on with CEI? Short report. Check my YouTube. But the second answer works too. But I can't send a message in the chat. Refresh after a minute. Nais, do you have? It takes 1 minute. There's a 1 minute delay if you're trying to ask questions on the YouTube. That's just to control the flow. But it's just too much, the CEI stuff. So what about Roku pumping? We'll take a look at Roku. We're gonna go here just a little bit longer. We'll close it off after that. So Okay, yes, we will talk PLTR, of course, guys. It's going to be on the watch list, but I will tell you, it could make for an easy target. News-based pumps, PLTR gets government contracts all the time. So Raul asked me about mRNA calls and puts as far as triggers, and why. I think you may have been asking why I was setting certain levels. So, if you go down here to the hourly, yes, you answer your question is I am setting levels, I am setting alerts to basically give me an indication when we could fall, or when we could make a higher high. So here I see there's a smaller hourly down our time frame support. Really showing weakness if you think about it, because if you pull this off the top, right, you'll notice right there. Whoops, pull that back up. So you'll notice that we're pretty much up against resistance. And when you want to go to resistance. You don't want to drag ass across the floor and get to it. You want to actually hit it, and you didn't hit it. You actually have a MACD rollover, and if you look at it, it really shows no rollover, shows no strength. Yes, you do bounce all the way to 305, and you make your way back up into the 330s. For Moderna, that's not a great move to the upside. That's not a bounce, you know. So I would let one let this trade come to you anywhere above 342. That would be a trigger for me. Candle close on the hourly to the upside, and then to the downside. I think I have a couple of alerts set at 322.65 for a potential first entry to push this one down lower. But yes, that's essentially where I would set those puts, or those triggers. So what you could do here is set array. So that would be my entry to the downside. So confirmation, right? I want to make sure that we don't bounce hard off of that and reverse. And then to the upside, right? There you go. So same thing. I set myself a safety. Oh, there it is actually. Sorry. So above that 50-day EMA, and that would be where I would set those calls. And I think it's absolutely extremely useful. And if anybody wants me to, if you guys just send a thumbs up in the chat, I'll show you guys how I set alerts on something that I can't watch actively, but I want to know everything about. So. Do you remember how I said the volume confuses me when you'll have a good bull volume just for the price to drop back to a fraction of the bear volume? IHT is the example. Um, so in suite hospitality trust shares beneficial interest. That's also the ticker. You're not dealing with like a fundamental stock. You're not dealing with the same stock. Oh, excuse me. So the bear volume was so minuscule compared to the bull volume that drove the price up. IHT. So let's go look at the 4 hour. Um, okay, so I don't know what happened here, but I'm gonna take a wild guess. Normally, when this happens, either one, people covering shorts starts to wheel out of control for just a moment, right? And you get this random, because it's a heavily shorted stock. I'm sure that if I go look up the short flow, it's relatively shorted. That being said, maybe you have a little bit of coverage here, or you have a news event that may sound good but doesn't have the sustained or doesn't sustain a push. So um, hop in the YouTube, and I can, yes. Otherwise, I'm not gonna be able to see these messages. So. And, never sell, never lose. There you go. Did you know 15 minutes can? Thank you. AO. That's so funny. It's my son's name. What to look at tomorrow when the market opens? Look at the market before it opens. Yeah, I saw Mara. Ask those questions in the YouTube though. Okay. So anyway, okay. So I think you got unusual whales, Ryan. Yeah. So I think, what did you say before that? We are live. I'm buying whales. I've decided. Nice. Yeah, we have something comparable. I have the whales as well. I subscribe to both. We have tradie ticks that comes in with the AI bots, golden sweeps, silver sweeps, scalps, dark pull prints, insider buys and sells. But I have the whales too, just because I like to see what their algorithm points out, rather than just one. So okay. Hmm. Yeah, it doesn't look like Facebook's gonna fall. Um, for the person who just DM me, yeah, I think we have like two spots left in the Discord right now. When you are drawing your trend lines, you move through several different time frames. What am I looking for? I'm looking for a clean line. So if like let's say I'm looking at this on the daily, it may not be as clear to me whether I have every single wick set. So I usually will go down to say the 4 hour, and I'll go look to see if it actually is showing signs of respect. And of course it is. So that's usually what I'm looking for. Um, who is who is my hero? I have no idea. Um, I don't really have one. Me, I saved myself. What would you sing at karaoke night? Probably Radiohead, Kill the Vibe. All right, so let's go. How do you know where to make marks? Good question. Let me make sure that I'm not skipping any. I'm trying to go to questions and charts here. Okay, so I'll do the pen message. There we go. All right, just double checking. Sorry, I want to make sure I have all your questions. So, um, why do I make marks? All right, well let's learn about what are my marks and why. I'm trying to see um, if this one will make a good example. Mm, damn, look at Piedmont Lithium about to take off. Okay, so let's we'll just use Microsoft. So what am I doing when I'm setting these rays, these lines? I'm looking for rejection levels, right? Rejection or bounces. So in this case, this is a level, right? So 291.50, 291.40. That's going to be an area in which Microsoft had trouble breaking. Even if it did break out, it still had issues breaking through it. So that being said, that would be a level in which I would watch. I would also be watching the very same level below it. And you can see there's wicks here. It was also a breakout level. A lot of the times when you break out, you will go back down and retest the breakout level. And that'll oftentimes screw people up. But with that, you see right here, again, there's another level. So look, that's a support. That's a resistance. Now look at where we're at now. So let's fix that up. Just make sure it's perfect. I want you to just look at that. So when I'm looking for these lines or these marks are specifically to help me identify where bounces are going to occur, where rejections are going to occur, and where we need to break. So, um, yo, what's up, 8X? Good to see you in here, brother. Um, okay, so I think that's it right there. Let me go back up. I think Merck was the next one. So Merck was a good swing trade the other day. This one did, in fact, and not in a terrible fashion because I'm actually still okay with it. Um, but we did get a break in trend. So if you go here, I had a lower time frame rising wedge. So pulling off this top wick, look at how well that respects that line, that trend line there. And then I also had this, which you guys probably remember, was expecting possibly one more trip up. We failed, likely due to market conditions, and close below that support. So right now at the moment, we're holding 81.45. I would, instead of drawing these lines because they are no longer in play here, I'm looking for a break in downtrend. So the break in downtrend is going to come right above that hourly 21.15 level. So that's going to be a small break in downtrend here. I still believe that Merck could see a solid bounce. And in fact, now that I'm looking at it, I haven't charted it today. So here's my first time charting it. I've now identified what looks to be a potential falling wedge. So you're falling with consolidation, and on actually, in the benefit of the upside, Merck fell on low volume, so that's always good to not have volume behind a fall to the downside. So, all right, I'm kind of fluctuating around here. Also, Roland Warrior asked me a question, and if you're cool with it, man, I'll answer it here. If you want, I'll text you a video response as well. So he asked me, how do I find a good watch list? And I think today is going to be a good example of how to do that. So let's say PLTR. Okay, it had news after hours. Nobody caught that unless you're, which you should be. Well, I shouldn't say that, but I'm a long-term holder of PLTR. I actually have automatic. The only thing that I use Robinhood, well, it's my fiance's Robinhood. It's my wife's boyfriend. But her Robinhood, that's where accumulation, dollar cost averaging of a stock like this occurs. So maybe there's a little bit of a love there for to us tomorrow. It's really really funny because we were just discussing PLTR. We were just discussing the setup that we had, and that this ends up being a massive fake out. Now we're not out of the woods yet. I still potentially see. Okay, so let me just show you rather than like. So look at the angle, high, lower high, right there. Look at these wicks. Let me pull it down. A lot. So the first place that we get a resistance at is at that downtrend, which you could also use the same levels. And I don't know if anybody notices this, especially about my trading style. I got really good at a specific strategy, and then I started learning more. I learned about supply and demand. I learned about technical analysis. I learned about price action, and I don't ever try and just be one type of thing. That comes later in trading, where you can start to adapt or pull different strategies together to form your own, which is really what you should do and should be your end goal. But anyway, with PLTR, thankfully you are back into this daily setup here, into this daily channel, which means that if you can get a recovery, especially above 26, and you have good volume, there's a good possibility that you could go and test your gap. There's a gap sitting here on PLTR sitting at $30.25 and closing that gap at $31.35. Definitely enough of a gap to possibly go hold. And if the market decided it wanted to start bouncing or start moving to the upside, which a lot of people are starting to think that it will, then maybe PLTR sees that relief as well. Otherwise, you just want to hold. I would say a good hold is 25.50 tomorrow. You got to think that in after hours, people are going to be hopping all over tomorrow. It's going to provide a ton of liquidity for market makers, and they will fake you out. So just throwing that out there. Be careful. Buy the rumor, sell the news. That can always be a thing. Also important to remember that PLTR is constantly getting contracts. Period. End of story. So, sorry if you guys, I'm not catching these comments here, but I am on YouTube, so feel free to hop on the YouTube. You can rewind what I say, pause me, draw on my face, whatever you want to do. Screenshot me and post it on Twitter. Who cares? Don't do that. No, just kidding. Okay, so Spy. Anna, you asked how Spy is looking. I think that's a good question to answer here. Remember, you guys are always welcome to ask me any questions about anything. Well, why are you doing that? What's wrong with you? Why are you the way that you are? Whatever you guys want to ask, let me know. Um, Okay, so Spy, I think I talked about this. We got a little bit of a pullback here, rejecting the 435.35. My target today was 436.50, and we rejected just shy of that mark. Now, overall, I think that the response or the bounce that we saw from yesterday and today is not outside of the question to simply retest, and I'm not going to try and confuse you guys, but there is this small time frame. Look at this trend line here. There is this small time frame trend line, and as long as we hold that, I do expect a potential push up to this downtrend. Okay, right now the downtrend market at 437, 438 level. So somewhere around there, and it depends on the velocity, right? So or the volume, the sentiment. If SPY A doesn't bounce or a bounces at 431 and does show good volume, I would imagine the first retest or test is going to come around 463, or excuse me, 436.50. So that would be, and that's that 200-day EMA on my hourly time frame. That's that orange line right there. A lot of the times, the orange line on any given time frame is always going to be the most respected, obviously due to the data input of 200 days. And if I don't need to, if anybody in here doesn't know what an EMA is, I can give you a quick explanation. A moving average is exactly what it sounds like. A moving average is literally the average moving price of a stock over X amount of days. So the closing price of a stock 9 days. So you have a 9-day moving average. You're using 9 days of data to calculate a certain moving average. If you're using 200 days, you're using 200 days, and as such, it's going to be less responsive to the actual stock price. And therefore be a stronger moving average to rely on for such as like a bounce. But when you use EMAs, you're adding more weight to recent price action, which sometimes can give you an advantage sometimes. But I have arguments back and forth on that one. Some people use everyone's trading style is different, so everybody's looking, and that's the beautiful thing about the market, guys, is you may end up being a scalper that only relies on price action because you have 5 minutes in the morning and you're looking for a high quality setup and you're looking to scalp it and be out no matter what the profits will take. So if that's your thing, you're going to have a different set of prerequisites, and you're going to build something different than what I have. Yeah, so SPY looks good to potentially retest. I'm not going to No, I'm not gonna go that far. I would just leave it at that. So basically, trigger points for me to the downside: SPY 430 break, and we will go back down. I would look for a 431.50 bounce, and then potentially another bounce out. So okay, so let's keep it moving. I'm trying to kind of keep up. So do you see? No, I got that one. Myrna. I'll look at those. Hold on, I'm trying to make sure I answer any questions, like questions. Can I take a look at FAMI, GRWG? Scanners? What's the first thing? Hold on one second. Let me keep moving. I believe XRP will get listed on Coinbase after lawsuit. Yeah, but I don't see anywhere higher than $5. It's not possible. Well, it's yeah. I don't really feel that it's possible to have $1 trillion market cap. So, guys, just for time's sake, I'm trying to answer questions first. Netflix, does it go to 650? I think it does. I think it does. And you only have to be right for a short period of time for scalping. That's very true. And guys, big stepper is a scalper. Why does the EMA appear differently on different time frames? Because it's a lower time frame. It's going to be using that time frame's data. So it's going to look a little bit different compared to the daily 200-day moving average on the daily. You looking at a less of an input on the hourly. So um, Tesla, maybe, maybe get to 800. Scanners. What was that comment about? Big stepper. What are you talking about? Good evening. Whenever you get to PLTR, it'll be great. Okay, got it. Sorry, I'm just trying to make sure I don't miss anything. If I missed anything above that message, you can go ahead and comment it again. What would be better for a swing trade, Microsoft or Nike? Well, I don't feel like extra comfortable like just telling you which one's going to be better. I do see I'll tell you what setups I see. So I see a hourly cup and handle here with the trigger price of 151 to the upside with the target of immediate target of 152.75. That would be what I would look for at Nike. Quote me on that one. So I would set an alert there. And then as far as Microsoft is concerned, Microsoft is going to have a little bit less of a fun time trying to get up and out there. It does have a gap to fill. That gap starts at 291.60 and closes around 293 or 294. What was the site about top gainers you were talking about this morning? That's Benzinga Pro. Hit the link in my trading view. Oh shit. Are you guys okay in there? I'm sorry. Yeah, QQQ is at a support level. That's why we're looking for, that's why it's bouncing. I haven't gone over PROG, but I discussed that one previously about having insane volume. So, building a watch list. Yes. So Benzinga Pro, Dan. Hit the link in my bio on TikTok or Twitter or whatever the link tree. Go through there. Grab yourself a trial on that one. I use that scanner on a daily basis. Building a watch list. I'm a catalyst guy. I want some sort of catalyst. I'm not going to be looking at something that doesn't have somewhat of a social sentiment or has the market on its side. So when I'm building a watch list, like for example, Net. Net just came from a price scanner that showed me that it had made a new session high. I know about Net. I saw that Net made consecutive highs after the Facebook news. So right here, when Net was moving, it was coming up on my new high scanner on Benzinga Pro, and that attracted me. I need movement, so that is what immediately attracted me. Okay, I'll check it out. But yeah, so had that good movement, showed in the scanner. All it is, go look at it. And I think that people like want. No, I'm not saying you, but some people are like waiting for the stock to almost fall into their lap. You have, and this is why it's so confusing for new people to find stocks, because it is hard to know what to look for if you don't know what to look for. So that's why I urge people, go study those chart patterns, go look at those setups, go look at plays that were successful that you understood during the day. So if you're watching me live trade like we did today, then same thing. It's going to be a a setup to remember. So for this case, you have a beautiful hourly rounded bottom with good, strong volume on that breakout level. That's a high probability setup. What adds to that probability is that you wouldn't go any lower. You refuse to break that low, and then you have a gap above you, a gap with rising volume heading into that gap. That's a perfect setup there, and it gets added to my watch list. Things with great technical setups like Netflix. Yes, Netflix was on the watch list. Why? Because it literally ripped, made new highs, and then dumped. And in my opinion, because it dumped because the market dumped, but immediately when we saw a rebound, Netflix immediately took advantage of it. And that's what I'm kind of talking about, with that kind of stuff. So, um, so another thing about building a watch list, and I'll leave it this, because you could go on and on about like, are you looking to build a permanent watch list? Like for me, I have all of these stocks right here. It's not a ton of them, but it's a good handful of stocks. You need to go and figure out your trading strategy. Are you a swing trader? Are you a scalper? What kind of setups do those type of traders need to see? Secondly, you need to look for stocks that move the way you want them to move. When you get a catalyst that you can track and react to. If you're looking at biopharmaceutical companies, you're obviously running on skepticism or speculation. It's a little bit different. But when you're building a watch list, you want to look at how something moves. So I think like, AMD, right? So if you had AMD on your watch list, and it's because that when AMD has good news or has good earnings, or they partner with somebody, their stock moves in a manner that you can profit from, and you can go see that. Yeah, AMD hasn't had a really great run up, but you can, well, it has, because you can go see here, right? You get a very, very, very beautiful break, right? Excuse me. Last year, you get a break right above that $58 level, and then you cruise, and then you just trade flat with nightmare trading conditions here. And then once news hits again, and let's go look at that. Let's go use that profit finding, that target finding method here. So where are we at? We're going to go find our price range. We're going to start it from the low, go to that first high, and then go and compare and contrast that to this breakout. Wow, look at that. That is literally almost the exact same movement. It's almost as if it reacts the same exact way when certain types of news like earnings come out and they beat earnings, earnings. So if it's a stock that you can deal with moving, or moves in a manner that you can profit from, then it's just a matter of being patient in the meantime. Um, Hold on one second. Hello? All right. All right, guys. I unfortunately have to go. Um, I normally would never end a live like this, but I gotta go. I do apologize. Somebody just left me a message. Cool. Um, Guys, I really apologize. I gotta hop off. Um, so tomorrow, guys, I'm not gonna be trading live on YouTube. You guys are welcome to hop into the Discord, use the free trial. Um, Unfortunately, I have to go. So, like I said, I would never do this to you guys. I always try to stay on live, try not to interrupt my schedule, but I gotta go. Uh, Sorry, guys. You guys have a great night. I'll see you guys in the morning, 8:15, 8:30. Sorry. Bye.